What's up, guys? Welcome to Off the Great Wall Talk. We're another very interesting topic, because we always have interesting topics. And you guys feel free to suggest topics. Growing up, there's a lot of social difficulties that I faced.
When we talk about social obstacles, we mean anything like you can either, it's smack bang in your face, like race, right?
Yeah.
But then other things that are kind of like drinking pressures, social pressures to fit in.
Fitting in.
Like growing up, we all want to fit in, right? And
Right.
I think we've all experienced to some extent, either it's like not as much, or just like how we dealt with it that really shapes who we are now. What was the biggest social pressure you had growing up? Like, what made you feel the smallest or anything like that?
Okay, not so much later in my life, but then in high school in Malaysia, when I was in this international school, British international school in Malaysia.
British?
Dang.
Yeah, it was the whole language barrier. Like, I couldn't speak English, and then it was like a very intimidating environment in terms of the classroom being small, and they were also smart.
Did people tease you?
Yeah, did they make fun of you?
They were all being very nice about it, but still, like, when they were talking to me, I couldn't even talk. I couldn't make a conversation.
Okay, when I talk to like a lot of my Asian friends, the moment we come to America, I feel like our lives, it's an uphill battle. The first thing is, when you come here, your name is an issue. We all joke about how our names got made fun of.
Wait, so you're not Dan?
I'm not Dan.
What
and
are
Jimmy
you?
wasn't Jimmy. All right, and like,
Who are you?
my name was Dayin. Okay, big music.
Okay.
But no one could pronounce it, so I was Diane for like 3 years. So a girl's name. So I got teased. You got a girl's name, you little wimp, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. I'm the opposite. So
Yeah.
my name's Felicia, and so when they called the role, they'd be like, Felicia, and I'd be like, yep. And they'd be like, but you're Asian. You're supposed to have like another name. I'm like, no. And I can speak perfect English, thank you very much.
That's hilarious. That's like reverse. And then of course, like Mike was Shing, and he talked about like crossing. So off the bat.
Wait, for all the Australians watching, because I didn't know this either, Shing is actually, it's not Shing, it's crossing.
Right?
I was like, Mia, what is Pat Sing? Is it like a Pat Seal?
So like these things, it didn't traumatize me, it just kind of annoyed me. It affects you to the point where you're like, I need to change this because I'm tired of people mispronouncing my name, making fun of my name, right? And that's just kind of the beginning. So you deal with the name thing, nobody could pronounce it. You deal with the label that you're a nerd because you're good at math.
That's the thing that I don't really get about America in like high school. Like, you get so many labels.
Your sorority groups, like
you said, you're a nerd, she's a cheerleader,
it's like your
she's a jock.
identity is totally created.
It is.
Yeah.
But but my question is, how come you guys don't have that in your countries?
I think it was just like more observed rather than full on labeled. Plus we didn't have cheerleaders, we didn't have jocks.
Really?
Like, if
Then
you
what
played
did you
sport,
have?
you played sport.
And what was the label for that guy that played the sports? Just
They didn't even necessarily have to be good looking.
see, this is very foreign to me, right? Because you guys watch American movies.
Yeah.
Mean Girls.
Where you sit in the cafeteria is crucial because you got everybody there. You got your freshmen, ROTC guys, preps, JV jocks, Asian nerds, cool Asians, varsity jocks, unfriendly black hotties, girls who eat their feelings, girls who don't eat anything, desperate wannabes, burnouts.
They have that classic scene where you're in the cafeteria and it's like 8 clicks.
And like you can't sit with
Different
us.
tables.
That's a real thing. So like when you go to the cafeteria, how did you pick who to sit with? Did you wait? So you're looking at me like you didn't even. So you never even thought of that?
No, okay, so like in Australia, you had your friend group, and we didn't really have a cafeteria.
Wait, what's
So you're eating your food like outside?
You eat like outside on benches.
Oh, this is weird, man.
Or you're like,
This is
if
very
that's what
foreign
you
to me.
wanted. If you bought food at the canteen, which is like the food thing, and there's benches around there, you sit there with your friends. You don't have to like pick a table like in
you
prison.
don't go around.
Dude. No,
and
no,
then
no.
look at this is the nerd table. I'm not gonna sit there. That's the cool kids table. I'm gonna sit there.
That was lived my life
that doesn't
for
exist.
15 years.
Actually,
Right.
in grade 11 and 12 senior year.
Senior year, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it was as much pressure because you could jump ship on
Yo,
different
we
groups.
couldn't
Right.
do that. I think that's great that you guys didn't grow up in that environment,
Yeah.
but it's still a label.
It's like a food chain thing.
It is totally a food chain thing.
Yeah. I naturally just always found like-minded people
Yes.
who were always coincidentally Asian. But that didn't mean I didn't have white friends, but it's
Right.
just majority of my friends were Asian, which is why like I didn't feel.
Because I think you guys grew up with a lot of Asians around you, right?
No, when I went to an all-girls Catholic school,
Okay.
that was not Asian.
But I feel like maybe you were more confident.
I felt like
Have
how
more
I dealt
problems.
with it was just to lay low. Like I never
Okay.
rocked the boat.
I did notice that like the Asian girls in my class, that's funny, the lay low thing, like they were not categorized as much.
You don't want
Yeah.
attention on you because
Right.
you know you're already like physically
Yeah.
different. Yeah, you were just quiet so no one would notice you.
But for Asian guys, it's different for some reason. It goes back to
Growing
fitting
up-
in, yeah.
Yeah.
Past school, right?
Yeah.
Like drinking in social environments.
Well-
Because that's also like one of the biggest pressures almost every adolescent and teenager goes through.
I don't know about you guys, but for me, because of all those like things, they actually did add on to my psyche. In between high school and college, I went through a period where I was like, you know, I wasn't very confident because I didn't enjoy the success as my peers did getting dates. Prom time, like, oh crap, like I gotta find a date. Because if I don't find a date, I'm not cool, right? So these things start to build. That's why the jocks were number one, right? Because why?
Because they can get all the girls they
Duh.
want. Okay.
You know, I was really good at chess. Nobody.
But you're saying that you're saying that
See?
wait.
Felicia? That guy plays chess. Right? But anyways, no.
Wait, there was a chess club?
No, a chess team.
Oh my
We had
God.
a chess team. Like I was a chess elite. At a certain point, you know, I didn't enjoy the one pressure was Americans, they see guys as like if they're good with women. And that was like a huge pressure for me. That
And then
became
drinking helps you get.
it leads to that. Okay, this kind of goes back to the Steve Harvey thing, if you guys remember last month, where Steve Harvey made a joke. Asian men, like no one likes Asian men.
Yeah. How did you deal with it? Like, how did you deal with it?
I did not deal with it in a very good way. Oh, well, there was a part of my life, you know, I turned to alcohol to try to mask this issue. It
What
was
did
like
that give you?
temporary confidence. I think a lot of Asians might go through that, or they don't want to have to resort to that. So
It is definitely a confidence booster in social
Right.
like environments because you feel like you can kind of hide behind the effects that it gives.
Right.
Like
you can fit
without
in
it, yeah,
because
you can fit in because everyone else
is doing it. But looking back, I'm like, that was a result of insecurity, which was a
A
result
lot of
of
it is.
you know.
Did you ever feel like you needed to like drink because your friends were doing like the social pressures surrounding that?
Yeah, in a way, like I wanted to be one of the cool kids, and hence I should go out and do all these things, like going
Yeah.
to clubs, going to
Right.
parties, drinking. But then I feel like in terms of, even when I was doing that, I still kind of had some self-control. Like
Yep.
I wouldn't let myself go to that point.
On the other end, I think for girls, it's also pressure because
Okay.
in order to seem like that bubbly, vivacious, flirtatious girl, you'd need to also like, well, the belief is that you need to drink in order to achieve that kind of personality or identity when
I
you
can
go
see that.
out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so growing up, I did have a lot of friends that were in that circle, that very like social, outgoing, you know, like party.
Because
It,
guys,
like,
guys might think like, oh, if she doesn't drink,
Yeah, it's like-
she's not fun.
she's boring.
Yeah, that's the perception that a lot of people have. I'm
horrible.
like,
And that's the social pressure.
Yeah.
You know?
That's horrible.
Yeah.
I believe that you can have just as much fun without alcohol.
I haven't drank for like for a really long time now.
No, but it takes
You know?
so much effort to get that into the brain of some of your
Correct.
friends.
Yeah.
And
No.
it doesn't make sense to them. It's like, why don't you just have a glass? And so I think a lot of people struggle through like how to deal with the pressure, like social pressures, when they're in it, right? Because they don't want to seem like that frigid, boring girl.
Because it doesn't end.
Yeah.
When you're out of college.
When you're in work, you know.
Exactly.
Work functions, events. Like I moved here, and like I don't drink.
Right.
And going to beauty events, going to like social mixes.
Exactly.
And things. It's like, are you driving?
Yeah. It's making you give them a reason to not drink.
You know, we all face these environments and these pressures, but I want to know like what you did. Or how in your mind you dealt with it.
First of all, it's like realizing that going through life, like I'm not totally in control, you know, because I'm always like trying to fit in somewhere. And even though like none of my friends would say I'm not a confident person, they do know that during some of those years, I had like a little chip on my shoulder or maybe a big one. So taking a step back and being like, why is this a thing? Like, why do I feel like this, you know? And then searching, you know, you have to search for an answer. So for me, like, found like my faith, you know, like I found my belief system.
But I feel like a lot of it, more than just society, is acceptance of yourself and finding yourself, right? Society will always give you pressure, but it's like, one, you feel the pressure because you feel the need to change yourself to fit that environment. But I think the first step is actually being like, no, I don't have to be just like everyone else, you know, first step. And then being like, assessing the situation. It's like, well, why am I feeling like this with the group of people that I'm with? And is this the group of people that I should be with if I'm constantly feeling so pressured and I don't want to change? Because it's like so easy to just be like, oh yeah, I'll just drink because everyone else, or I'll do this because you're doing this. And so I would make sure, like, my friends, if they pressured me to do something, if I said no and they respected it, then they'd continue being my friends.
But that's awesome.
If they pressured me and made me feel small, I would just shrink away into my, and I'm like, I'm not gonna deal with that because that doesn't make me feel good. I think people don't know that they actually have the choice to say no. You know?
But like, you realize that as a kid. Dude, it's really hard for me to say no.
When you're a kid, like, you don't want that repercussion of saying, from saying no to your friends.
One of the biggest reasons why that kid who doesn't drink seems not cool is because when they're offered, they're like, oh, no thanks, and then they just sit there. But if you were the kid that said no and you still had fun and was lively, it wouldn't matter. You're just taking one thing out.
Seriously, you're doing everything else with them. You're just not doing that one part. But I think what you said is really important, like being okay with
it's that
how you
confidence
are.
thing.
Liking yourself is key. Like, if I'm like this, I'm okay with it, and I don't need to like go out and party.
Because it's like, when you feel pressure, you're actually giving that person who's giving you pressure, you're putting them on a pedestal.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Which is why you think you need to match up to it. No, you're completely different people, so you don't need to view them higher than you.
Exactly.
It's like, this is the extent to what I will do, and if you don't accept that, whether you're a friend or a potential mate, then hasta luego.
You made it sound so easy though.
Somebody's like, yeah, Felicia, I was a boss too when I was 5. My problem at age 7 was, what do I change my name to? Because I don't want to be called a girl anymore.
My advice is just lay low.
It was so hard. You had no idea. I had all these like words structured in a full sentence in English, and what comes out is nothing.
But actually, I did dye my hair blonde.
See, you think you didn't go through some stuff? I'm sorry, that is
No. I dyed my hair blonde because I was addicted to Japanese ganguro girls.
Oh no! Wait, with the dark. I was insecure about like fashion and like talking to girls. I got a job at Abercrombie because I thought that would make me cool.
Did you like lift up your shirt all the time?
I wasn't buff. I was like the guy ringing up the cash register. You thought I was the good-looking guy outside? No. What about you? Like, do you find that that's like, as you look at it, the same as Felicia? Like, peace out, you ain't my friend.
I mean, I do now, but then like I'm okay with losing certain people in my life. Back then, I didn't feel like that.
Because like, don't you think if they're your actual friend, they will respect that and they will like you for who you are, even if you don't do certain things.
But maybe like this is the pressures that girls face different from guys. Like I mentioned, it's the needing to be popular with girls thing, right?
Yeah.
Maybe with girls.
Girls also need to be popular with the guys.
Yeah,
guys
the girls being popular with the guys is how girls get popular too.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
It's the same thing, yo. It's a mirror image.
Really?
Yeah.
And then they'll all want to be like that girl. It's
That
like,
makes no sense to me because y'all just go out in a group and you don't care if
no.
there's guys around
You think a group
Girl
is
power.
level-headed like this?
I think so, yeah.
In a group that,
Yeah.
come on, Mean Girls, there is a leader. That is the one that all the guys want.
Yep.
And then there is the
I didn't know that was a real
posse.
thing.
No.
Because like
it's
when I
real.
see a group of girls, I don't go, she's the leader.
No.
What? I go,
Dude, a group of
I
girls.
just see a group
Because
of girls.
guys just see a group of girls.
Yeah.
It's like, that one's nice.
Yeah. Every guy has a different preference. But anyways, that's a talk for another time. But so like, you've kind of had these inclinations when you're little and how to deal with it. But like, did you get stronger dealing with it as you got older, or like?
No, I mean, I'm not saying I was born confident.
Okay.
And that's not saying I was like lucky, because I did get teased and stuff. It was just that I knew what comments I should let affect me and what I can't change, so I'm just not going to deal.
So like, I didn't really show it, but I was deeply affected from 17 to like 20.
Same here. I
know?
feel like what I told you earlier, like I kind of curled up into a ball. Like
Actually,
I keep
Yeah.
a lot of things just inside. Like
True.
it's all in
And
my
I would
head.
never have guessed. I'd be like, yo, Mia's like, she's mad chill. Like, I would never have guessed.
No, she's shy. No, okay, that's the thing. We're both shy, right? But
You are?
no. Okay, here's the thing. The reason I am like this way now, I am shy. Like at the core, I'm an introverted, shy person, right? And how I dealt
I
with
still
that.
find that hard to believe.
Okay,
I can see
how
that.
I dealt with that was to become the extroverted version of myself.
Right.
Overcompensation.
Yes.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be
Right.
seen as the quiet Asian girl. And so I would make a conscious, solid effort to like make conversation.
Okay.
And then after repeated experiences of it not being that bad, it's like, okay, I kind of know what people will like. And so through experience, I would just kind of develop on that. Like in orals, I would hate orals because it's like, oh my God, I'm just like the only Asian kid in this class.
Orals another word for public
speaking?
Because no one, like you have the weirdest terms.
Okay,
It's so funny.
Okay, wait, let me rephrase. So in class, you had speeches, right, on topics. So if you read a book, you have to do like a speech.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
because you're the sole center of attention.
Right.
Plus,
All
you're like
Asian,
the
yeah.
only Asian kid in this
No,
freaking
plus
Catholic
English
school.
is your
Is-
second language.
Right. It's
Right.
like all attention on you, right?
Yeah.
And so in my mind, this was one of the biggest things that helped me deal with confidence. It's like I imagined myself as the people hearing me and watching me. And I was like, if that girl was like really embarrassed and really like shaking with her paper,
Yeah.
that would be much more embarrassing than if that girl just owned it. And so
Yeah.
in my mind, I was
Like they
like,
feel for you.
yeah, exactly. More than anything, I hated that pity, embarrassment feeling. And so
Interesting.
I would be like, I got this. And then just do it.
Okay.
And then go back and shrinkle.
I wasn't really confident in myself because I thought that everyone else got it figured out, but actually they don't.
No,
So
we're
it
all
kinda
on the
helps
same
that-
sinking ship, man.
Exactly. It helps to think that
okay.
everything is just in my head. You know, when other people see it, it's not going to be as bad as you think.
Right.
So I was surrounding myself with other international school or
Yeah.
other
Okay.
like Indonesian students or other international students.
So you're lucky.
Yeah. That makes a huge difference too, like
Yeah.
where you live.
Yeah.
Because when I lived in California, I noticed that like one high school I went to, I was like, oh my gosh, it's 90% Asians.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you kind of know, okay, I'm not
The
alone.
only one.
Yeah.
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 It's
Like
just like with any other problem. If you have acne problem, knowing that you're not the only one,
Yeah.
you can have confidence with acne, man.
You have to take like your thinking kind of to a higher level. The advice of like surrounding yourself with good friends, you know, like-minded people, I feel like that's good, but at a certain point, you're always gonna run into problems, and like you will
And
always.
friends don't always give the best advice, just saying.
The internet definitely doesn't give the best advice.
Oh my god.
Books don't always give the best advice. How many times do you go down?
I like books though.
Books are good, but how many times do you just get addicted to self-help books?
I love self-help books,
but
man.
that's a thing. Like people actually, they just go from one book to the
okay,
other.
so the thing is, I like self-help books because it expands my
Thinking.
angle on
Yeah.
how to deal with things. It's not like I pick a book to deal with certain issues exactly
But see,
like
that's
that.
different because you're already, you've already reached
You're
that
already
realm.
a strong
You're
child,
strong.
my child.
You use these books as just like a mind opener.
Yeah.
A lot of people use it to find answers. Everyone is looking for advice, but you have to make the choice in yourself to be like, I need to find meaning in life on a much higher realm, so I can be like confident in myself and my beliefs that I could get through
Yeah, and
anything.
it's also to know that your problem is so minute.
Exactly.
It's like if you step back a little bit and just don't let things faze you as much as they are, and know that there are like bigger things, which is hard to explain.
Right. No.
Then you won't.
No, you just explained it.
Yeah. Then you won't take the poo that happens.
Yeah.
As
The defining
like your
yourself.
whole
Yeah.
world is crumbling.
We think we're the center of the universe.
Right.
So any problem we have, like I don't have enough friends, I can't get girls, my job stinks,
And
blah
your
blah
whole
blah.
problem is just within your own
Right.
like thing.
head.
But you know what? Whenever I'm on a plane and I'm either like going off or landing, you know, you see the city.
Oh my gosh, I feel the same thing. Like they're so tiny.
Yeah,
they're
it's like,
little
wow.
speck of dust.
I'm a
I
freaking
never fell in.
speck. And like
Yeah.
there are all these people with all these problems,
Right.
Yeah.
and then it just makes me think like, man, my problems are so
Seriously, I get
pez.
the same feeling when we go like to the beach.
Yeah.
When we go
Oh.
see like the sea,
Yeah,
this
that's
large
cool.
body of water. You feel so small.
Yeah, you hear the because a lot of the time our problems are just in our own head.
Absolutely.
Like judgments and stuff. You think people are judging you much more than they're
Right.
actually judging you a lot of the
Yeah.
time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then imagine you have kids. Like, how do you teach your kids to get over
Yeah.
these same problems?
I mean, you know, we'll never not have insecurities.
Yeah,
But
or
it's
we'll
like,
never make mistakes.
They'll
something
never,
like that.
you can learn to never let those insecurities like rule you.
right. I get mad, sad, angry all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
But it's not like before where I'm just blinded by emotions,
Yeah.
and then I'm just like, what do you think? Help me.
Yeah.
But now I'm like rationally, okay, here's my deep set of beliefs and morals, and according to those, how should I behave? You know, which is rooted in like spirituality.
Anyway, so
So the moral of the story is, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, so we wanted to talk about some of these issues because I see them on the internet all the time, like on Reddit, Quora. These are issues, and I feel like sometimes people miss the point when they're just trying to get advice.
Put a Band-Aid
Yeah,
over
put a
it.
Band-Aid over it. Exactly, like quick fix. We want to like bring it out rationally
Yeah.
and take a look at our experiences so we can maybe help you guys.
So let us know your thoughts if you went through any other or like similar situations as to what we have, which I'm sure you guys have. Leave your comments below, and yeah, goodbye.
All right.